Assalamualaikum and a very good morning. I wish to the members of the floor. So today we have a very interesting topic that we are going to compare and debate in this house. So basically, today's motion is that this house believes that the same gender school is way better than mixed gender school. What same gender school is? So I'm as a Prime Minister, I will lay down the definition of the same gender school. Same gender school is also known as single gender education, and gender isolated education is actually the practice of conducting education with male and female attending separate classes, perhaps in separate buildings or even schools. The practice of single-sex schooling was common back then in 20th century, particularly in secondary and also higher education. Some of examples of single-sex education in Malaysia are Methodist Girls High Schools and also Malay College Kangsar. Moving on to the second term, better in this debate, we from Affirmative team believe that the same gender school is better in terms of improving people's achievement from many aspects. Some of these aspects also include a higher level of achievement, increased self-confidence, and empowerment to try a variety of new activities. The impact of this type of setting cannot be underestimated, as these environments also helps to boost the academic success as well as improving their soft skills. As each child is different, it's a bit difficult for us to establish what the best environment is for these kids. Yet, there's no doubt that single-sex schools are better in terms of improving pupils' achievement from various aspects. Moving on to the first rationale behind championing the notion of single-sex education, as it can improve behavior among these adolescents. At Matthew Hansen Elementary School, the country's longest all-boys classroom experiments, Dunkel's reports a decrease in disciplinary problems, an increase in attendance levels, improved academic performance, and more positive attitudes. So, by providing single-sex classes or single-sex schools, students' attendance improve, distraction decline, and students' participation increases, all of which serve to maximize students' achievement. In co-educational classroom, boys and girls are easily distracted by one another. They want to impress each other and often act in ways that are very detrimental to their individual learning. By far, the advantage most often associated with schooling boys and girls separately as that it eliminates distraction. Freed from the worries of impressing the opposite gender, boys and girls can focus on their book. Male 2004 says that preoccupied with the dating and rating culture, students in co-education system environment are taught to be unnecessarily distracted, concentrating on how they look rather than focusing on academics. Without boys to inhibit them or grab the spotlight, girls pick up more freely or more often in the classroom. The curriculum is likely to include women in non-traditional roles and positions of authority. Girls report high levels of self-esteem as a result of their academic achievement, not as a result of their looks or popularity. Girls feel more free to take part in all types of extracurricular activities and take on leadership roles in these activities. So, in conclusion, I believe that the same gender school is way better in terms of improving people's achievement, as it can also improve the behavior among these adolescents. And that's all from me.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I bid to the wise educator, worthy rivals of the affirmative side, my allies in the negative side, and also the members of the floor. The role coming from negative side today is very simple. As a negative leader, I will first present to you the burden of proof, our stance, as well as one rebuttals and one argument to support our case. Then, my second speaker will come out and give her rebuttals as well as one argument, and then my whip over there will deconstruct the case of the affirmative side, give one point, and also epitomize today's debate from both sides. Now, the burden of proof coming from negative side is, we will prove to you that same gender school do not offers anything better in satisfying the basic aims and purposes of an education system. Hence to say that the stance into this debate from our view is same gender school is not better. The characteristic of the term better from our view is it must be proven better in satisfying the fundamental aspect of an education system, which are better in terms of social skill development, better in terms of academic performances, and better in extracurricular performances. Now, let us move on to the rebuttals I've gathered for the affirmative side. There are three things, listen carefully. First, the affirmative side has failed to provide us with a clear ground and clear definition of what aspect they wanted to discuss into this debate. They keep saying same gender school is better in terms of various aspects, but actually, what aspect? They left us puzzled. Second, the prime argument of the affirmative side. They said that same-gender school improves behavior and attitudes of students. Ladies and gentlemen, into this debate, if you want to tell me that a school can improve the behavior, the attitude of students, it is not enough, because we want to know how does the segregated system based on gender is better compared to other education system. The third one is, it looks like the affirmative view onto this debate favors only one gender, which is the girls' school, because the advantages they keep on mentioning favors only one gender, which is the girls. The first part of my task is done. Now let us move on to the next part, which is the prime argument. In negative, we believe that same-gender school is not better because it is lacking in extracurricular performances. To be more detailed, I've divided my explanation in two folds. First, what is lacking? Second, same-gender school do not offer any exclusivity. The first one, according to Ibarat School District Organisation, extracurricular activities offered at the same gender school are based on the general natural abilities of the gender, meaning to say it will be math, critical thinking for boys, and art and humanity for girls, meaning to say there is no equilibrium in conducting the extracurricular activities, because as much as they try to make it work, it will only favor one gender's nature at the end of the day. Secondly, I did not deny the fact that this same-gender school offer such called opportunity, empowerment for a gender to take a step ahead, such as becoming a club president. As much as you see this as an advantage, it is actually detrimental for the students, because in real life, they need to compete against each other. Boys and girls need to compete against each other, and these same-gender school students did not have the experience at hand. Next, I said that same-gender schools do not offer any exclusivity, meaning that what I want to say is better, in order to perceive it as better, it have to be uniqueness, specialty, and exclusivity. But in this case, the term better and same gender school is only a mere segregation of genders in the education system. It is not different from any other schools. This is proven because generally we know all schools are bound to one mission, vision, and way of conduct according to their respective Ministry of Education. And according to Science Direct's performances measurement of extracurricular management, every extracurricular activity at school can only be accomplished in cases where teachers and school perform their tasks well. What I want to say is, the biggest factor leading to the excellence of students in satisfying the extracurricular performances is based on the Ministry of Education itself, based on the schools, based on the teachers. It is not based on genders. Genders play no role in it. And at the end of the day, same gender school is only the same with mixed gender school and other schools, because their performances based on the school itself, not based on gender. Hence, same gender school is not better. Before I end my speech, I would like to remind that the purpose of an education system is to prepare and lead their path for a real-life working world. What's the use of receiving opportunities when it leads you to a false competition? Be free from a false environment. Support opposition.
Okay, so here is the rebuttal for the opposing team. So the first negative has claimed that same-gender school is not better as it is lacking in curricular aspects. Firstly, she said that there is no equilibrium in conducting the extracurricular activities in same-gender school. However, in fact, our studies and our research has identified that mixed-gender schools set unequal and unfair standards for both genders, contradict with same-gender school as it offer a more equal chances of success to both boys and girls, because all the curricular activities can be designed to meet the needs and ability of students. Besides, it provides positive same-gender role models. For example, in all girls' schools, the role of best students, best athlete, student body president, and class clown are all filled with by prominent students. All of them are female, and same goes to the boys' schools. Okay, now I'm going into my own point. So, the second rationale behind realizing the idea of single-sex education is that boys and girls have different educational environment. So, Vail 2002 believes that the kind of learning environment that is best for boys is not necessarily best for girls. So, physiological and psychological differences between girls and boys require different different teaching techniques at different times. And so it means that The teacher is responsible for designing the environment in the classroom, using space, movement, and collaboration in order to accommodate different learning styles. And also, Swine and Harvey 2002 agree that the classroom environment is an additional factor affecting student learning. In single-set schools, the teacher would be able to concentrate. Yes, okay. So in single-set schools, the teacher would be able to concentrate on the learning styles of each sex and use the styles to bring out the academic best in each student. Lessons and activities could be designed with a single sex in mind. Um, the classroom learning environment contributes to the student academic performance. I would like to use Malay College Kuala Kuangsa, which is MCKK. It is an all boys residential school, for an example. While boys are generally known to be more laid back compared to girls at their age, the male students at MCKK are an excellent example of what boys can achieve on their own. In mixed gender schools, girls are often passive and submissive, whereas males are more assertive and aggressive, so vying for the teacher's attention. Swine and Harvey 2002 state that in this environment, boys tended to monopolize student-teacher interactions, disrupt lessons, and dominate the physical space, while girls show their passivity by infrequently participating in class discussions, limiting talking to among themselves, and not objecting to the boys' domineering behaviors. So, therefore, by separating the sexes, teachers will have a better chance to meet individual learning needs by adjusting lessons accordingly, which is why I think that it is important for us to send our kids to same gender schools because of this reason, which is both boys and girls have a different educational environment. So, thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, as the second speaker of my group, I totally support my leader that same gender school is not better than co-ed school. Before we move to the second point, I would like to rebut the idea from affirmative side. Firstly, they claim that same gender school improve behavior among students. Ladies and gentlemen, there is no statistic that shows same gender school have lesser discipline cases than co-ed school in Malaysia, showing no solid proof to support the claim. And actually, according to Professor Din Asliban 2010, same gender school promoting stereotyping because each gender believe they are better than other gender. Ladies and gentlemen, the second claim that separating boys and girls are good for educational environment, since each gender have different way of learning. Gender is the minor factor of the student performance and achievement. Ladies and gentlemen, we have better or major factor why the students have better or bad performance in school, which is financial, communication between teachers and students, facilities, and family stress. Ladies and gentlemen, the major factor are the factor we need to focus more other than gender of the students, which is why there is no such thing if we separate the students according to the gender, but still lack of communication and lack of facilities in studies, which also lead to bad performance in school. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we move to the second point why same gender school is not better than co-ed school, because same gender school aren't prepared for working field. Ladies and gentlemen, same gender school claim that they have better environment in their education because no pressure from other gender. But the students are likely to stay in the comfort zones without realize the reality that need to face that in the work field have two gender, which is female and male. Ladies and gentlemen, which is why even though you enroll in a single-sex college with straight A or first-class degree, but lack of interaction between other gender, still is a huge disadvantage. According to National Science Foundation 2018, only 15% engineer and 26% computer science worker are women in STEM, and then the others are men. Why? Even though women or the students have better grades in mathematics and science than the male students, but they feel unwelcome and uncomfortable in male-dominant environments, which is that kind of career. Same goes to men who likely not to pursue in nursing or teaching because they claim it is female-dominant environments. which lead to huge disadvantage in the future because we lack of other gender in the same career. Now, ladies and gentlemen, same gender school also not preventing us from SAD or social anxiety disorder. According to the International Journal of Indian Psychology 2018, social anxiety disorder, or also known as SAD, or the other name is social phobia, is fear of social situation that involves interaction with other people and also performing any activities in front of other people. Who is likely to suffer from SAD? Yes, same gender school students. Why? Since the young age, they never been trained or been taught to study, to work together with the other gender, and likely to suffer in the work field nowadays. And who is likely to survive in SAD or prevent themselves from an SAD? Yes, co-ed education students. Why? Since the young age, we already train them to work together, to learn together, to do any activities together with the other gender, and make them feel comfortable and have bigger opportunity in work field. Because of that, ladies and gentlemen, co-ed educations preparing students for the future. Now, ladies and gentlemen, according to the Wong Wee Research 2018 about SAD, same gender school students report higher level of total mixed gender anxiety and social distress in mixed group. And the person who most likely to suffer is the male students. Why? Again, since I said, since the young age, they never been trained to teach and to study together with the other gender. Again, so ladies and gentlemen, which is why same gender school is not better than co-ed school. We don't have sex-separated workplace, then why we need to have sex-separated schools or educations?
Here's the main point I would like to raise, which is about second's open point. She mentioned that single-sex school students reported higher levels of social anxiety than co-education students, which makes them unprepared for the working field. I disagree with you because I find an analysis of variance which have been done to identify the differences in social anxiety among these four groups, which reveal that girls in co-education school experience the highest social anxiety compared to other groups. From the descriptive statistics, it's also clear that female students have more social anxiety than male students, and that girls and boys in co-education schools experience more social anxiety than their single-sex counterparts. The rationale behind girls and boys experiencing high social anxiety could be because of the feelings of high self-consciousness due to the presence of the opposite sex. As we know, during that age, they are experiencing their puberty heat, which makes them care more about their appearance instead of school. If they keep on thinking about how the opposite gender perceive about them, this could lead to the lower self-esteem while interacting with the opposite gender. As a result, they have more problems to interact with opposite gender once they finish their school. And since the study has showed that girls and boys from single-sex schools experience lower social anxiety, therefore, I think they don't have any problems when entering a working field since they have better social skills. To add on, having good social skills and communication skills at early age helps them being more prepared for the world out there. The other reason why we are proposing this motion is because single-sex schools have less gender stereotyping. According to Leonard Saltz, founder of the National Association for Single-Sex Public Education, whenever girls and boys are together, their behavior inevitably reflects the larger society in which they live. This clearly showed that in co-ed schools, students speak and behave in the interest of affirming their gender-related self-concept, which limits their full potential to succeed. While in same-sex school, this is much less prominent issue, and students worry less about how they like to be perceived, and either their behavior is masculine or feminine enough. For instance, in same-sex schools, girls are free of the pressure to compete with boys in male-dominated subjects such as maths and science. Boys, on the other hand, can more easily pursue traditionally feminine interests such as music and poetry. According to Chris Garten, the CEO and founder of 1000 Dream Funds, he believed that single-gender schools can be beneficial, especially for girls. He stated that the absence of boys, especially in teen years, can allow for more enhanced class discussion, where girls are more likely to speak up on topics that they may feel difficult to talk about otherwise. Its early exposure to the productive class helps them to build confidence and also increase their academic interest. Therefore, I believe same-sex school helps students to build confidence at early age, which benefits them in increasing students' achievement in extracurricular activities and academic interest, since they are not fear of being stereotyped based on their genders. And for all of the reasons, the motion must stand. Our first speaker proved to you about single-sex education can improve behavior among adolescents. Rationale behind this could be because of less distraction from opposite gender. He also provided the support from Vail 2002, which stated that single-sex school officials say test score and attendance rise and attitude improve. So pupils' achievement and academic interest will rise if students have good attitude. Our second speaker told us about boys and girls have different educational environment. She also said that this is prior to Vail 2002, which that the kind of learning environment that best for boys is not necessarily best for girls. This is because both genders have different psychological and physiological differences that needs different technique of teaching. Thus, different education environment in single-sex school helps them to enhance their achievement, especially in academic. So, ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, our teams still believe that single-sex school is way better than Christian schools, because by separating them, they can focus and learn more about themselves.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I, the last speaker of the negative team, believes that single-gender schools are not better than mixed-gender schools, with the main reason being that it affects the academic performance poorly. But before I carry on with my main point for today, I would like to raise a few issues regarding the third speaker's argument from the affirmative team. Firstly, how could you have said that single-sex schools have less gender stereotyping when your evidence were full of contradictions? If I may, isn't saying that girls are free from the pressure to compete in male-dominated subjects such as science and math is the act of stereotyping itself? Clearly, you are not empowering these children, but in fact, you are dividing them to the fullest. My evidence here is the late Marie Curie was a renowned scientist and the first woman, I repeat, the first woman to win a Nobel Prize. Not to mention Shakespeare, who was a poet, a male poet that was mentioned throughout the world and still mentioned in the education of youngsters today. These people were not bound by such stereotypes as they pursued what was in their heart. Now, I, the last speaker of the negative team, believes that single-gender schools are not better than mixed-gender schools, with my main point today being that it affects the academic performance of students poorly. This is due to the fact that single-gender schools experience less competition among their peers. This is a result from lowering the probability of high achievers. Try imagining this. In a single-gender schools, a male student will only think he needs to beat the other male students in his school, meaning he needs to be smarter than one person. However, for a mixed-gender schools, a male student will take into consideration that he needs to beat the males and females above him, thus resulting in a larger effort produced by students in order to achieve high grades. According to Josh Newbert, the CEO of scientific institution, he states that the larger the competition, the higher the chances of developing academic heroes and increasing intrinsic motivation. I believe that students in mixed-gender schools will be able to enhance their social and emotional learning, where the single-gender schools are truly lacking. Apart from that, ladies and gentlemen, why should we cut down the chance or the probability for the students to collab their minds with one another? Did it not occur that to the affirmative team that dividing institutions according to genders will decrease the chances of an idea to be born exponentially? To be respectful, I am not discriminating any part of any party by saying that girls cannot think independently without the boys. I am trying to prove here that everyone has their weaknesses, and what better way to overcome such weaknesses than putting two separate minds or more from different genders into one. If we can put two separate minds or more from different genders into one, this will surely bring out a sensational performance from each individual. I apologize for my mistakes. But before I stand down, I would like to remind everyone that the negative team here are still firm with our stance, being that single gender schools are not better than mixed gender schools. With the points being that first, it lacks in curricular aspects. Second, resulting in the students being unprepared for the working field in the future. And lastly, it affects the academic performance of students poorly. If we are heading into battle, we should not take anything for granted. We should accept any winning idea, no matter who it is from, in order to win. And I am sure we in the negative team would not take any gender for granted as well. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.